When I saw this, I knew I would have to bring it to you because this guy right here went viral on TikTok talking about how he went from being a far right conservative who was a confused young man into a Democrat. And I think it offers us a lot of lessons. It went viral, but I don't think enough people have seen it. So I wanted to bring it to you here because I think part of the struggle and part of the work we got to do between now and then next election is figuring out where we went wrong, the constituencies we need to reach out to, and also how we can do that best. And I think there's a lot of lessons in this man's story here. So I hope you'll take the time to watch. It's about 6 minutes long. It's worth every minute. And let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you next time.
I was 14 when Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election and became the 45th president of the United States. I grew up in a very conservative area, and me and all my friends, young teenage boys, were of course very conservative, and all we were excited about was making fun of the triggered people online who were crying hysterically and thought the world was ending. I love watching those Ben Shapiro owns the SJW Warriors compilation, and Charlie Kirk puts dumb college kid to shame, like those types of videos. You guys know what I'm talking about. Not coincidentally, this was a time when I was also bullied a lot. I was super insecure about myself, and I felt very hollow and empty inside a lot of the time. So to avoid being bullied by others, I find myself being increasingly intolerant and hateful towards other people so that I wouldn't get bullied, but those people would get bullied. And I feel like this really aligned with how my political beliefs were at the time. It was this zero-sum game where either me or them could escape this social shame, and I would subscribe to anything that provided me escape from said social shame. And as I got older, the only side of the political spectrum that seemed to accept me was the right, while the left was seemingly calling me racist, sexist, misogynist at every single turn. Keep in mind, I'm only like 16 years old at this point. I have no idea or understanding of who I am, the values that are most important to me. All that I know is that I feel a lot of anger and rage towards one side of the political aisle, and that another is accepting me or even embracing me for how I feel. From a very early age, I was sold on the idea that everyone on the left was a blue-haired, triggered liberal who hated all men, who started the KAM movement, and thought that all men were racist, evil, disgusting people. Meanwhile, people on the right were openly embracing and accepting me for the person that I was at that time. And it ingrained within me almost a victimhood complex, right? Where I thought that, historically other groups have been oppressed, but in today's day and age, in today's society, it is the white man who is oppressed. I was constantly bombarded by conservative messaging saying that things like D&I and feminism were going to steal my ability from succeeding in today's society. Now, I can recognize that when you're coming from a position of privilege, equality looks a lot like oppression. But at the time, I felt very fearful of these changes, and I worried about being accepted and successful in society. Also, sorry for the outfit change, I just got back from church. Now, the first time I realized that my worldview may be skewed or maybe wrong was senior year of high school. In my English class that year, we read a book about an African-American family dealing with the consequences of redlining and white flight. Now, I would definitely recommend you do your own research about redlining, but in short, in the 1950s and the 1960s, property owners refused en masse to sell homes in the suburbs on the basis of race to African Americans, who were then forced to remain in the cities. There was a huge demand and transfer of wealth to the suburbs, so the property values of those suburbs shot up exponentially, while those in the cities fell drastically. This meant that the property values for African Americans decreased solely on the basis of their race, while the property values for white people increased solely because of their race. Now, this is a clear, cold-cut indicator of systemic racism that impacts people and families to this day, and it was a real wake-up call for me. And this was the first time I realized that maybe I was wrong, and that the grievances that these communities have are actually rooted in fact and historical context. Maybe I've been misled and misinformed by the political pundits that I listen to. That was all but confirmed for me on January 6th. Instead of conceding with grace and honor like a real man, Donald Trump cried for 3 straight months after losing the 2020 election, citing baseless claims of fraud and rigging for why he lost, and blaming everyone but himself. He brought into question the sanctity of our democracy, our elections, and our institutions, and he effectively riled up his base in advance of January 6th. That same base committed violence and an insurrection on his behalf that day. And as I was watching that unfold on television, I thought to myself, wow, how can these people be doing this? How can they believe the things that are coming out of his mouth? And then I realized that up until a few months ago, I was the same way. I believed the exact same things that those people believed, and they were storming the Capitol. Now, the main takeaway I had from all of this is that Trump benefits from the rage and the anger and the spitefulness amongst young men. It helps him win elections. Conservative pundits like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro make their livings and careers off the frustrations and grievances that young men feel. Elon Musk gets billions of dollars of government subsidies and tax cuts because young men are angry at women and immigrants and not billionaires. My point being, everyone on the right directly benefits from the disenfranchisement that young men feel. So why would they ever attempt to solve it? Why would they provide meaningful solutions for you and me when they make money and win elections capitalizing off your anger and frustration? They won't. They will only provide you with new enemies to channel your frustrations onto, but never the ones that are actually causing it, themselves. It's not a coincidence that the more young men follow people like Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, and Ben Shapiro, the more angry and frustrated they will become. Therefore, I think it's really important as men that we look inwards at the anger and frustrations that we feel, rather than projecting that onto others or looking for others to blame. Calm your mind, calm your heart, listen to those that you disagree with, and empathize with those you don't understand. It is not masculine to be embroiled with anger and rage. It is not masculine to bully the downtrodden or the oppressed. It is masculine to regulate your emotions. It is masculine to show empathy for others. Be a rock against the waves. Do not allow those who stand to profit off of your anger exploit you and only further those emotions. My hope for young men is that you pay close attention to the next 4 years under a Trump presidency. Focus on what material benefits a Trump presidency brings you. If you didn't get to see liberals cry or scream because Trump got elected, if you didn't get to see college students getting owned by Charlie Kirk on campuses across the country, or if you didn't espouse hateful things with the specific intent of upsetting others, what would your top political priorities be? His promises of lowering gas and grocery prices will not happen given his proposed economic platform. Trump will not lower the cost of housing, of healthcare, or your taxes. He is not working for you, he is profiting off of you. When your entire ideology is structured around making others sad and unhappy, you will not find peace within yourself or happiness in your own life. Escaping the pitfalls of the far right has made me a better man, more secure with myself, and happy with the world around me. If any of this resonates with you, know that you are not alone.